Talking about yoga, there is one business leader who not only understands it, practices it, but also uses it to create new management practices in his company. And it's not only yoga. He also has a deep understanding of the science of homeopathy and has used his learnings from this science in management practices. We're talking about the young Turk Rajiv Bajaj, Managing Director of Bajaj Auto, a company that was named Company of the Year 2011. Please welcome on the show, Mr. Rajiv Bajaj.
Known as a gutsy pathbreaker who took the risky post of MD and revived the fledgling Bajaj Group with his offbeat innovative measures in doing business, research and developments, promoting brand image rather than the corporate counterpart, and product development helped Bajaj to jumpstart the growth in market share. His drive led to Bajaj being named the Company of the Year 2011 and securing 27% market share of the Indian motorcycle industry. The company also forecasts a 20% sales growth in 2011-2012. Think global is what he's looking at, with 10% share in a 35 million unit world market. The man behind the metamorphosis of Hamara Bajaj is Rajiv Bajaj.
It's so intriguing to read about the fact that you used yoga and homeopathy. You've applied them to develop Bajaj Auto's management practices and culture further. Now for the obvious question, yoga, homeopathy, and how you've applied your lessons from that, your learnings from that to the company.
As a company, instead of always looking outside and commenting on and trying to account for what happens outside, perhaps Bajaj Auto's first task should be to look within itself. First you strengthen yourself from within. Then you can seek some specific technology from the outside, for example. So in every area of our operation, we thought we should have an inside-out approach. And that's precisely the approach that is common to both homeopathy and yoga. And I found in the organon of homeopathy, called the organon of medicine, in fact, written by the founder of homeopathy, Dr. Hahnemann, about 300 aphorisms, or you could say principles, which should be used by a homeopath to effectively cure and heal a patient. I was able to fortunately translate that or interpret that in a business context. So that became my management book, the organon of management for me, with which I was able to then go about my task of managing the company.
Okay, Rajiv, my second question. Money spent on research and development in Indian companies doesn't form a very large slice of the pie at all. But ever since you took over as managing director, you've had a consistent importance and thrust placed on R&D and put your rupees behind that. Why?
Basically, Rahul, most Indian consumer durable companies, not just motorcycle or auto companies, you would see have their roots in borrowed technology. Unfortunately, we really didn't have an R&D because we'd been leaning on Piaggio or subsequently on Kawasaki. So we had to start from scratch to build an R&D. And that put us at a serious disadvantage vis-a-vis our global competitors, especially the Japanese, because we were so far down the learning curve that we were bound to make mistakes as we tried to climb it faster in order to close the gap. So we started in right earnest around 95, and that's been 16 years effort so far.
So when you started in 95, obviously there was a lag.
Sure.
Because it took time for you guys to make mistakes, get up to speed. How long was that lag?
Well, I think we were pretty much floundering till about 3 or 4 years back. Over the 80s, Bajaj Auto grew faster than even Reliance. And we were really top of the heap at that time. We couldn't do anything wrong. We made almost more money than any other private sector company. 50% market share, years of waiting period. This was 1989. In 1999-2000, this business lost money. Unfortunately, some problems take longer to solve, and we thought it would be wiser in the long term to invest in areas like R&D, which would ultimately pay off, than to try and find some stopgap solutions. And today, fortunately, we are in a position where the levers, such as the R&D lever, are available, are in our hands, and we are in charge of our own destiny.
Okay. So now it comes to your questions. Yes.
Rajiv, you said it's not about the mother company, but it's about the brands. But I can recollect a couple of incidents where you pulled the plug on a few brands like the Bajaj Crystal. So when do you decide when to pull the plug of a brand? And do you think by doing this you lose customer traction? And how will customers believe when you launch a new brand?
What we realized is people actually buy into positions, people buy into perceptions. We realized that we are not an engineering company. We need a good R&D, it's a necessary condition, but it's not a sufficient condition. So when we looked hard at some of our products, like the Crystal and others that you mentioned, we saw that they were really laggards. Not just in terms of volumes, but most importantly in terms of price. Because ultimately, the only thing that tells you about the potency of a brand is the price of the brand. So we looked at those brands like Pulsar and Discover, and indeed the Boxer, which could charge a small premium over competition, thus establishing the fact that they were very strong brands. And then we stuck with those brands and discontinued the rest. What we've understood is you never launch a new product. That's why 90% of the products fail. What you're supposed to launch is the perception of a new category. When people see what you have to offer, whatever it might be, they should feel there is no category like this. That is what leads to curiosity. And as Asimov said, perhaps at the beginning, there was curiosity. And it is that curiosity that will bring business to your doorstep. If you have to sell your business out of the door, you go bankrupt trying to do that.